We're joined now by the CEO of Wizz Air, József Váradi, in an exclusive interview. József, before we get to everything that's happening with your competitors and whether or not this is a level playing field you're on, tell me about the specific Wizz Air earnings story here and what your outlook is as lockdowns lift.
We reported record earnings with record revenue, so we are actually very pleased with the results what we are bringing to the market today. Obviously, today we are in a totally different position, totally different situation, given the COVID-19 impact on the industry. So it's hard to predict what exactly to expect from the current year. I think we are very much down to government discretions, how various restrictions are imposed on the industry, on people's movement. And depending on that, we will see how we can go through this year. But our understanding of the market is that actually people have the desire to travel. They want to fly, and they've got enough of having been locked down for 2 to 3 months. So we are doing all sorts of demand sensing, and that suggests that actually people want to move.
Good morning to you, József. Last time we spoke to you, we talked about expansion plans. You've certainly been talking to our colleagues about that, around new bases and around new routes, which might surprise many people. But today you talk about how you don't see a positive development in terms of capacity. Can you give us any guidance as to what capacity will do this year then?
What I can tell you is that we have a desperate quarter we are in. So this is the April-June quarter. We're going to be flying around 15% of our total capacity. We hope to do significantly better in the following quarter. We sense that there is a turning point now in Europe. June might be the month that many of the countries will start easing restrictions significantly. So we are expecting a much better quarter. So roughly 50-60% of the capacity we are planning on flying. And depending on how life moves on, we would expect to ramp up to around 80% in the second half of our financial year. Now, this is all subject to government restrictions, I have to emphasize.
But, I mean, when you look at, for example, other markets that have opened up, József, I saw charts today of China that I think substantiated kind of your forecast, looking at a rebound to 80-85% of previous activity. Is that what you expect for the rebound here in Europe as well?
Yes, absolutely. This is what I would be expecting. I mean, again, people want to go, people want to fly. I think there is demand there, and that demand can be further stimulated by low fares. And I think we have the perfect business model to do so. But we need to see the government restrictions going away in order to be able to fly people. But definitely, I think the industry will recover. But different players in the industry will recover differently. We are a low-cost, very efficient point-to-point business. We recover much quicker than the hub-and-spoke carriers who are much relying on long-haul travel. And I think long-haul will have some time to go before it gets back to normal.
József, do you think you'd be able to take some market share if your government gave you 9 billion euros?
Well, it would be lovely, but that's not the reality. We are very self-sufficient from a liquidity standpoint. We are not down to the government bailouts. We're seeing that under any circumstances, we can manage ourselves through the situation. Our liquidity is so strong that we can be around even 2 years from now without flying a single flight or carrying a single passenger. So we feel strong about our position and our ability to take advantage of market consolidation. As a matter of fact, we have already made a number of announcements to open new bases in Milan, in Larnaca, in Lviv, Ukraine, and Tirana, Albania. And we are seeing many more opportunities coming. I mean, many airports are approaching us, begging for growth capacity, and we are one of the very few airlines who actually can deliver that.
Do you see opportunity in Germany, in particular, around some of Lufthansa's landing slots?
I think we need to better understand that opportunity, but put things into perspective. Lufthansa is giving up 2% of their capacity. and the European Commission wants to create a level playing field by having Lufthansa owning 98% of the morning slots against a new competitor owning 2%. So what kind of a level playing field is that? And we also need to take note of the airport costs in Germany. We would only be interested in doing something in Germany if it's the right opportunity, it's a scalable opportunity, and at the same time we get it at the right cost.
Did you come into this business expecting it to be a level playing field? I mean, has the airline industry been a level playing field in your experience, and do you think European regulators really want to make it that?
I think we had better times with that regard. It feels like the industry is moving backwards 10, 15 years now. The governments are back in the game again as owning equities in airlines. That's not great because the government should be the regulator and not the equity holder in the industry. I'm not sure we can avoid that given the magnitude of the issue and the actions taken by governments. No, you're right. I mean, it's never been really a level playing field, but it gets distorted in a big way this time around.
Joseph, give us some insights into your latest thinking on how flying will look when it gets back on its feet versus how it used to look in the past. I mean, will there be empty seats, compulsory masks, air corridors set up between governments to avoid quarantines? I mean, what's going to be the big change for you in terms of how you operate?
I mean, clearly we see that people are concerned, although they have the desire, but I think some people will have to be convinced that flying is very safe. And as a matter of fact, flying is very safe. We don't have a single case globally that would suggest that anyone would have been infected aboard of an aircraft. So that's the starting point. Nevertheless, I think we need to adopt our health and safety protocol to the current realities. We're seeing that in the foreseeable future, people will have to wear masks when they travel. They have to use hand sanitizers. We are eliminating almost every single touch point inside the aircraft. So we have redesigned our processes to enable people to pay by credit card, and we eliminated in-flight magazines, etc., to minimize the risk here. So it will be a change in terms of protocol, but I don't think this is fundamentally undermining people's desire to fly.
Are you going to be able to lock in some future gains with the prices of oil where they are, where they have been? Does that help your business?
Now, as a matter of fact, we are over-hedged, and just this morning we are reporting some ineffective hedges. So we hedge more than what we can consume and what we can fly. So at the moment, we are not over-excited about hedge opportunities. And to be honest, once demand for oil goes back to normal, prices will move up. So I don't think that this is a structural opportunity for the industry.